Welcome, everyone. This is John Tiamisha. Today is Saturday, October 9th, and this is our ongoing Circassian class. We're going to start today with a little bit of a review, and I'm going to drop you guys into your breakout rooms. What I really want to do is consolidate what we've learned so far, and then we're going to move on to some new material. All right. Also today, Zalina is going to do some, she's going to try teaching some of these materials as well. Just so that everybody is aware, there is no comprehensive program or system or content yet to teach Circassian to people who are not native speakers of the language. And so Lydia and Zalina and other people, there's almost 10 of us together. We are working together to develop these things. This course is based on the content and the methodology of TPRS, Teaching Proficiency through Reading and Storytelling. And the course is designed for us to use this language to speak with one another. The analogy that I often use is, if we were trying to learn how to ride a bicycle, and we were learning that the way that people teach languages, we would study physics and mechanical engineering and manufacturing, and we would look at the picture of the bike, and we would have tests on the math that is used to design the bike, and we would never sit on the bike. That's how most people teach languages today. If you want to learn how to ride a bike, you sit on the bike, and sometimes you fall, but eventually you have fun, or you use that bike to do something productive. It's the same thing with language. Okay, so we're here not to study the language. We're here to use the language, to enjoy the language. The language is something that we use to communicate to people we love, people we care about, to listen and share things that are important to us in our hearts. So that's really the whole method that we're using. And what we're trying to do is to get you guys to construct phrases or questions in the language, right? So all the methods that we're using, that's as simple as it is. Now, there's a couple of things that we're doing in order to accomplish that. And I'm sharing this so everyone understands why we do some of the things we do. And I'm also sharing this so that Zalina has an opportunity to get sort of a refresher on what we do here. So in every single part of this class, what we do is we're telling a story, okay? And we're slowly building on that story. And eventually we are going to be moving faster. But right now we're going slow so everyone can understand what's happening in the story, and then not have to worry about learning content and learning how to construct phrases or ask questions in the language at the same time. So we know there's a boy named Nart. We know he's a boy. We know his name is Nart. We know there's a dog. The dog's name is Abreg. Abreg is not big, he is small. We have a Smurf. The Smurf is small, okay? I am a robot. That's part of the story. I am a robot. Each one of you is a boy, is a girl, right? We've talked about that. And what we're doing is we're using all these words to be able to communicate with one another, right? So we're asking people questions. Are you this or are you that? So the method, and again, this is as much for the students as it is for Zalina. The way the method works, it's actually very simple. I give you a statement. This is a red apple. That's just an example. This is a red apple. I give you a statement. And then what I do is I ask you very simple one-word questions. Is this an apple or is it a pear? It's a either or question. Or I might ask you a yes or no question. Is this an apple? Yes. And I might point to a picture of a Terminator and say, is this an apple? And you say no. So I'm getting you to output. I'm getting you to construct. I'm getting you to say things in the language using very simple one-word answers, okay? And then you can see on every page, we have these basic question words: who, what, when, where, why, how much. And so we're gonna start using some of those as well. Once everybody has a comfort level that they understand what's happening in the story, and they understand these very basic vocabulary words, I'm gonna ask these similar questions, but I'm gonna ask them in a way where I want people to give me an entire sentence answer. So I could say something like, who is the boy? And then somebody would say, the boy is Nart. That is a full sentence. It's not just a one-word answer. And now all the words are on the screen, but not all the answers are on the screen. So using the words that are on the screen, I can ask you questions that aren't explicitly written out, but that force you to construct the language in your mind, but give you all the material you need to build a sentence. So I might ask you, is the Terminator a Smurf? You have all the words on the screen to say, no, the Terminator is not a Smurf. I might ask you, is a Breg a robot? And you would say, because you know in the story, a Breg is not a robot, a Breg is a dog, right? So that's what we're trying to do. And that is getting you that comfort. It's the building blocks that gives you guys the comfort level to be able to create the language. Now, this method has been around for 20 or 30 years now. It's being re-pioneered in the age of Zoom. So we are here with Zoom. Not everyone has English as their first language. And this is a relatively large class. You know, there's research that says the ideal class size for language learning might be 8 to 12 people, maybe 15. We've got almost double that, 3 times that. We've got 24 people. So what I do in this class is I drop you guys into breakout rooms, because if I were to give you each 1 minute to just practice with me, that would use 24 minutes. And in a 90-minute class, that doesn't give everybody enough time. The other reason that I use the breakout rooms is the other very important thing in this class is for us to build a sense of community. We are all Circassians. We have a shared past. We have a shared presence. We have shared values, shared culture. So be able to speak with people from Germany or Turkey or the Middle East or North America or Russia, it's very exciting. I see Lalina, she's a Nalchik from Australia. That's such an interesting story. I hope I have more time to speak with her as an example to learn that. That's a very interesting story. So that's the other reason that we use the breakout rooms. So that's a crash course summary. With that, we're going to jump into the lesson. And just to remember, I see some new faces today. When my goal is to be goofy, and your goal is to also be goofy. If we're being silly and we're being goofy, we're going to relax and we're not going to worry about making mistakes. And we're all going to make mistakes. We're supposed to make mistakes. That's how we learn. So as a reminder, when I say class, you are all going to, and I want everybody to please turn off the mute. I want your microphones on. When I say class, you guys are all going to say sit, right? Sit. Very enthusiastically. And then when I give you a piece of information, okay, it's a piece of information in the story, you're going to say, ooh, right? And I'm going to repeat that piece of information 2 times to make sure that you really understand it, right? And then we're going to go through this whole, I'm going to ask you a very simple question, then I'll ask you a more advanced question, and then eventually, when we get a little bit more advanced, and this happened with the Monday, Wednesday class, I'm going to ask you to start telling me things about the story in your own words. You can even make up things in the story. You can put yourself in the story. You can say, I am a Smurf, like you speaking for yourself. Or you are a Terminator, or you are Wonder Woman, whatever you want to be, okay? So that concludes the serious part of the class, and now we're going to jump into the fun stuff, all right?
Janti, sorry, just a second. Can you do the slide a little bit larger, the slideshow maybe? If you click on slideshow, it will be a little larger, no?
I can't make it larger and still see everything I need to see on my computer.
What if you click on the slideshow? Just
does that make it? If I click on the slideshow, I don't see my notes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Everyone can do it for themselves.
Yeah.
From the top of the screen, view option, and then zoom ratio.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So, class. Sit. Okay. Are you guys sleeping? Class. Sit. Mir salas. عالم يتسر نارتش. حم يتسر نارتم. حم يتسر ست. أبرق. هج. حم يتسر أبرق. صحة.
Hava.
Sasas ala.
Hava.
Robots. Robots. Sasas alakam. Alstami sas robots. Azra. Okay. Sasatuk. Hamayun.
Well,
Yin.
yin. No, yin.
Sasayins. Sasayins. Terminator tuk. Hamatsumerator yin.
Yins.
Terminator yins.
Terminator Yinch.
Sasa khajabs.
Hava.
Awa.
Baba Shalish.
Challenge.
Awa sasa robots. Sasa robots.
Awa.
Okay. Sasa Terminator. Hama sasa robot. Sasa robots. Pez. Sasa robots. Okay, so that's just a little bit of review. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop you guys into the breakout rooms. I'm going to do 3 people to a room. We've experimented with 2, with 4. We think 3 is the right number. I'm going to drop you guys into breakout rooms, and I'm going to drop the slides here into the chat. So you guys will have access to these slides.
Oh, okay.
And I'm also going to allow you guys to share your screen. Okay, so I'm going to drop you into the chat. You can share your screens. It's going to be 3 people to a room. I would ask if you're comfortable to turn on your video when you're in the breakout room, because it's easier for people to talk to somebody that they're able to see. I'm going to give you guys 5 or 7 minutes, okay? And what I want you each to do is make 3 statements in that, whatever you want to say about yourself, about me, about the Terminator, about the dog, about Nart. Make 3 statements, okay? And ask 3 questions, all right? And the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to just try to speak in the Circassian language. So I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to create the breakout rooms. And I'm going to create them. And I will see you guys in 5 or 7 minutes. Good luck. Have fun.
Şimdi gruplara bizi koyuyor. Tamam. Grup Fiyat. Hadi sıra sende. Konuş.
All right, so everyone, we had about 7 minutes in the breakout rooms. We're all back. How did you guys like the breakout rooms?
Good. Douglas.
Dagwa. 7 minutes. I'll bet you that 7 minutes did not feel like 7 minutes, did it?
Felt like an eternity.
It felt like an eternity. Oh, wow. So you think it felt really long, huh? Is there anybody who thought it was too fast? Like it felt like, oh, that was 7 minutes?
Yes.
Actually, we asked
Yes.
all the questions, so for us, the time a bit longer.
Okay, cool. All right, we're back recording. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, and we're going to continue in this conversation. So, class,
Sit.
Alam yitzar sit.
Narch.
How do we say he or she or it in Circassian?
Ar.
So Circassian, just like Turkish, we have one pronoun. It means he, she, it. I think it's o in Turkish. Right?
Yes.
So in Adigabza, we say ar, right? So class,
It's
art, now sit us. Ar, now sit us. Okay. Class,
it.
Egyptu, Chicago, Okay.
Jonty, sorry for interrupting, but can I ask something?
Yes.
Like, can't we use sışıt? Like, sa Kayserim sışıt.
So when you say you wouldn't use it in this scenario. When somebody asks you, where are you? Then it was the shi'r, right? There's a couple ways we can say it. If you say
Onun üzerine
shit
bu şu artıyor.
in Circassian, it has two meanings. It means to stand or it means to exist,
Ha.
right? So if you were to say, I am in Kayseri, you would literally be saying, I'm standing in Kayseri. So it's a grammatically correct statement, but it doesn't make sense. Even in English, we would very rarely say, I'm standing. You could say, I'm standing on the street, but you wouldn't say, I'm standing in New York City. You wouldn't say, I'm standing in London. It would be a strange statement.
Upso.
So was anytime anyone has a question, feel free to ask. Okay. So we covered this in the last class, and we're gonna do some practice right now, but I just want to pull up the screen again because I'm trying to remember where I had this. You guys remember? Did we get the, yeah, then it was just, then it was okay.
Where are you from?
Yep. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of practice. I want to go around. Albert. What then it was
New Jersey and Sashas.
What New Jersey was Halamats. What then it was Khwar. Jordanium وقش الكواس هلا ماتش رمزي
ايه
سا دنس الشقة
وش شيكاغوش
هاج سا شيكاغو الشقة
ايه
وري شيكاغو الشقة
سا نيوجيرسي شقس
زرجب أنخويمة سا نيوجيرسي سشقش
سا نيوجيرسي سا نيوجيرسي سشقس.
Okay, and we just say New Jersey. We don't have to put iya at the end of it.
Okay.
Okay. So New Jersey سشقش.
Sa New Jersey. Whenever I speak, it feels like I want to include, like sounding like an immigrant, you know?
That's a very kind
I totally
thing to
agree
say,
with you.
Ramsey.
Yes.
Okay.
Sa New Jersey, Sashas.
What New Jersey was us.
Yeah.
Halit. Then it was shish.
Sen mitsen sışış.
One the mitzim was shish. Abe وقش الخوا.
Nıta.
Nemitzim وقش الخواس. You were born in Germany?
Nıta mitsen sışı. Sışı.
So you are in Germany, and also you were born in Germany?
Nıta.
Tamam. Halamach. Lydia.
Sit.
Then Egypt stood, then it was sha'a.
New Orleans الشقاش Egypt.
What then it was shish?
سا خاكم الشش.
Chakum was shish. Abe وقشخوا.
أب أنت نالشك سقشفاش سقشالفاش سقشفاش.
Wow. Now shich we gurihra.
نتا إيوة سيجرو. إيوة سيجرو.
Sari khwabj sigruh.
فابج سيجرو إيوة فابج.
I see a lovely young woman with short hair whose name is Janti Amisha, but probably her name is not really Janti Amisha. So
Sorry.
No problem. Sit witsar.
Sesitsa Nilgunç.
Nilgunç.
Atakuma Nilgunç.
Nilgun. Si guapos?
Serisi guape huaş.
Then it was sha'a.
Adapazar kalem Türk'ün sışı aş.
Abe we gurihra.
Nita.
تمام تمام تمام. ستناي إسحاق.
Sorry?
Yes.
ستناي. دنا والشقة.
سا فلوريدا سشاش.
اوه ايوه حالا ماتش فلوريدا. دنا ديج فلوريدا ست خدا قالة. Where in Florida? دنا ديج فلوريدا ست خدا قالة. What city?
Jacksonville. Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Mhm.
دنا وقش الخوار.
سا سيريام سق الشخوار.
اوه وقش الخواش سيريا. واو.
شخواش.
وسيريم وشش.
بيج.
هج وسيريم وشش. ساري سيريم سشش. Sari Sirium Shush.
Davo.
Si guapas. Zalina.
Good.
Egyptsto what dana washa'a?
Egypt'u sa Cheltenham سشاش.
Cheltenham washa'ash.
Arı. انت
Alamat.
أنا
Sari Cheltenham Sasha'a.
حاوة
حاوة.
وشيلتنم وشقم
Sa dana Sasha'a.
وشيكاغو وشاش.
Pej. Satanai Kubrak.
ست
What dana washa'a?
قطر سشأس
قطر والشقة. و سكسخاقم. I didn't hear you. ولندن والشقة.
حوا قطر سشأس
قطر والشقة. دنا والشش.
then وشش.
دنا
Where did I
والشش.
go out?
Where are you from? Originally.
جوردن سشأس.
يوردانم والشش. يوردانم والشش. ويوردانم وقش الخوار.
No. قطر سشخوار.
Okay. راشي. Sa قزقرواش. I understood. Jordanum washish. You belong to the Jordanian community of Circassians. However, wa Qatar wa Qashal. But you were born in Qatar. Siguapas. Murat.
ست
Egypt'u dana washa'a.
سا قيصرم سشس
Washa'ash.
وشاش سشاش.
Fons. Adigacher quad abisha'a.
دا أديجر ينس
Quads.
كت
What were khajabs? Hamash ala.
ساغ جبزغم سا جالس
What was alas? What the
انت
hamayin?
سا ينس
Wayins. Sari siyins. Yeah.
داغوس
Dagos. Siguapas Murat. Hamza.
ست
Egypt'u dana washa'a.
سري رياض سشأش
Riyadh. Ar Saudium yashish.
بجس
Abe Wigrihra.
سيغريحرا بج
Rashi. Nach Paju zerjup anoma. To say it more correctly. Sigroh.
سيغروح
Sigroh.
سيغروح سيغروح
ودنا وقش الخوار.
ساري عمان سقطة شخوار
Okay. Sari.
ساري عمان
Aman.
سقطة شخوار
Se. Repeat after me. Saqish.
سقش
Saqish الخواش.
سقش خواس
Okay. So the verb here. Perfect. So the verb here is hun. Hun means to be born. Hun. You were born in the past, so we say chwash. Right? And then
Wash.
when we say that it happened in a place or in a time, we say sh. And because it happened to someone, it happened to you, we say q. So q shal hwash.
Squash.
دغوة ددة. بصوري شقة دغوة ددة. برافو
So c'est guapa.
Once. Lalina. Your name is so pretty. My daughter's name is Sabina, and we call her Sabina Dakhalina. So it sounds almost like Lalina. It's a beautiful name. What dana was shish? وابقى was shish. Ab وقشل خوا. What?
Соси Австралиям
Okay. Arguaru. Once again. Diusu. Together. Jutanch. We'll say it. Okay. So I'll say it and you repeat after me. Sa. Australian. S. One more time. Okay, now remember that. We're going to try the second half of it all by itself. Wow. Tamam. Hajdida, bravo. Okay. Arguaru. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay. Huash. Oh, okay. So let's remember that first part.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay, now we're going to do something called back chaining. Okay. Okay, now let's try to put it all together. Perfect. So anytime anybody has any difficulty with any of these pronunciation, go to the slides. Everything is spelled in Circassian, and I give you the pronunciation. Look at each syllable piece by piece, and then break it up. Practice each piece, and here's a trick. It's called back chaining. Start with the last syllable and practice in reverse. No one knows why, but it makes your brain relaxed and it makes it easier to put all the sounds together. So Lalina Arfa did that. That was great. Amani Bar. That was shit.
Sa Abu Dhabi shit.
What Abu Dhabi was sha'ash. Dao was shit. How are you?
Dao shit.
Tamam.
Sas dago.
Dago, khunsh, dago. Wa Abu Dhabi wa qishal khwa.
Hawa. Sa Damascus سقش الفواش.
What Damascus قش الفواش. ويادرة دماسك قش الفوا.
Hawa. قش الفوا, you mean born? They were born? Hawa.
Dana.
Hawa. Siana قنيترم قشلخواش سياتا جوازم قشلخواش.
جوازة. سسيادة يشبخر جوازة كودلاندرة شبسوات. سسيانة يثنقم قنيتري قشلخواش.
Oh, that's great.
Did you understand what I said?
I think. Your mom's no.
Okay, that's
Cannot
fine.
repeat this.
That's fine. That's fine. So, arguarujus enos. Once again, I'll say.
Okay.
Siana yithanuqa, my mother's side of the family. Qunetrum yashish. They're from Qunetrum.
Siani too.
Well, Sarisiana.
Sarisiana. Yeah.
Sarisiana. And then I said, Siyada, my father, Yeshubkhur, his sister, Jueza, the village of Jueza, Quedthandra, for a long time, Shipsawash, she lived there for a long time.
Oh, okay. So your sister is from Jueza? Oh,
My
she lived there
father's
for a long time.
My father's sister.
Your father's sister. Your
Yeah,
aunt.
my aunt, yeah. Sasiwanagur, Brajam Shish.
Oh, so if I said the naush of shish, you would say sas berajam shish.
Brajam Shish.
So this okay.
You would say, so I'm from Brajam, but if you're really a Syrian Circassian, I don't know how many Syrian Circassians here there are, we'd say, Sa Brajam Ihlish. You can say it in homeland too, but what you're saying is, I'm a member of the meat. I'm a member of the blood of the people who come from that place. So,
okay.
Siguapas.
Yeah, me too.
Bakhan Tamarqan. Okay, so because there's two of you, I'm going to say fa. Okay, fa. Fa dana fasha'a.
Stuttgart.
Stuttgart washa'a. Abu qashalkhwa.
How
Aburde qashalkhwa. ورسام شش. واو حلمتش ويادر دنا قشر خوار. أبردي جلاكستنين سش سيقوش. سري سيقوابش أراشي فا نمتسبزت شوف بسلفرة. Ich kann schon das Deutsch auch.
Ja, wir auch.
Ja, als ich jünger war, habe ich Deutsch gelernt im Gymnasium, gelernt im Gymnasium. Und wurde Sibsitcha für Psalafra. Oh, Situku Bzagafacher. How smart you guys are. Siguapas. Burak, Ortan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Danu sha'a.
Kaiser Turkum Sish'ash.
Kaiser Turkum Sha'ash. Abu Qashalkhwa.
Sakarya Turkum Sqshalkhwar. Sqshalkhwash.
Abu Wigurihra.
Sit.
Wigurihra. Do you like it there?
I hear, but I couldn't understand.
Okay, so when I ask you wurihra, what I'm asking you is, do you like it? And what this word actually means is, we is your, gu is your heart, yahan means to carry, yirihan means it is carrying. So when I ask you wigurihra, I'm asking you is, do you like it? But what it really means in Circassian is, does it carry your heart? That's how Circassian is structured.
I see.
And then if you and you can just say "Nta" or hawa, whatever you want. So, muy guroh, si guapas.
Si guapas.
Dimaza,
Sıt.
daoshit.
Ses, sıdav ve vıdavşıt.
Sachar zinos, whoopso. Witsar, huabzu si guroh. I really like your name. Sara, witsar yemahanar.
I don't understand.
Do you know the meaning of your name? Dimaza?
Yes, I know. Turkish and Circassian or English?
In English, tell me what your name means.
Our moon.
Our moon. It's a beautiful name. Then it was sha'a.
Se aydınım sıçış.
Aydınım usus. Ardena.
Türk'üm.
Turk'um, okay, Turk'ıras. Then o kışal hua.
Se aydınım sıçal huar. Sıçal huas.
O kışal huas. Honsta. Si guapas. Satanay. I think we spoke, didn't we? Satanay Ishak.
Yes, we did.
Okay, good. I see sometimes the things go around. Okay. So what I want to do now is I'm going to drop you guys back into the breakout rooms, and I'd like you guys to practice the phrases that are on slide 35. Ask each other, feel free to add other things, right? I'm going to give you guys just 5 minutes. And when we come back, Zali, I'm going to give you a chance to practice. And what we can do is we can practice with slide. We can practice with slide. Actually, we can practice with slides 28, 29, and 30. Just because we're telling the story, there's only one sentence per slide. So I'll just give you some preparation time. All right, so I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to pause the video. And we're back from the breakout rooms. We went longer. I tried to drop into a couple of them to see how things were going along. I heard lots of languages that are not Circassian. You know who you are. You're only cheating yourselves. So we went longer, but how I saw a couple of interesting things. I saw people teaching each other, which is wonderful. I saw people helping each other with pronunciation. I saw a lot of people really, it sounded like people had a good time. What did you guys think about this breakout room session?
Dagodid.
Right. We have a little bit of time left, right? What I want to do is I want to give Zali a chance. Zalina, whatever you're comfortable with, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you want.
Right, we can start right now, I guess.
Okay, so let's start with slides 27 through 30, and then I'm going to save 5 or 7 minutes at the end of class to do some reading practice. So I will, you can share your screen and you can drive.
Okay, one sec.
Sure.
I'm not sure I will be able to type though. That's why I was a bit not confident because
don't worry about typing. Don't worry about typing. Just drive with the slides.
Class.
Sit. Tamam.
Mırhat. Suratım tetir. Mırhat.
Arnart.
What did that? دهوا نارج هار نارج نارت جزافوا يأش جزافوا problem
Guzavawa.
يأش class مرخت دهوش نارت ست يأر
نارت جزافوا يأش
Guzavawa yash.
ست يأر ست خوادا what kind of problem شرقم class ست خوادا جزافوا
Sharqam.
class
Set.
جزافوا زيئر خط جزافوا زيئر who has a problem نار ست خوادا جزافوا what kind
شرقم
تا جزافوا سيئش تا جزافوا سيئر تا جزافوا سيئش تا جزافوا سيئر question
Ta. Wa. Guzavawa wiash.
بددا و جزافوا ويأش و جزافوا ويأش قاشتا sorry
Zalina,
c'est quoi
Sigura, Wadi Guzavawa Wias.
مر خط عندي مر
أرصادة
Ar adimir.
عندي مر جزافوا ويأ
أنت
أب معرفة كويش أب جزافوا ويأ
أنت
جزافوا ويأ
Hawa.
جزافوا ويأ
Sasa tamams.
Hawa.
يأقم ليدا جزافوا ويأ ليدا جزافوا يأش
Lydia
Guzavawa yash.
يأش فددا سا جزافوا سيئة
Ta. Wa. Guzavawa wiash.
فددا سا جزافوا سيئش class
Set.
ساسخت
Zalina.
حجاب yes روبوت
Hijabs.
سا جزافوا سيئة
Wa. Guzavawa wiash.
عندي مر جزافوا يأ
Mir Guzavawa Yas.
معرسة خوش так مراد جزافوا يأ
أرقم.
لالينا وجزافوا يأ
جاكم
Lalina, what guzava
How Саси гузава
Ta guzava Jonty, can you please take over for a second?
Yeah.
Sa guzava
Okay.
Oh, Janti, did we talk about the meaning of guzava? Guzav.
We did, but why don't you refresh everybody's memory?
Remember, guys, we talked about gu, si, gum, yiroh, si, guroh, gu. It's like a central word here, yeah? So that's heart. Guzava, guzav. The second part of it, zav, means narrow. When your heart becomes sort of, is that right? Narrow, right? So
yeah,
your heart is, something is squeezing your heart. That's a problem. Yeah. So zav, that's squeezing, that's sort of something that is really narrow. Guzavawa. So that's a very interesting word. Yeah. Sa guzavawa ch. At the end, when you have ch, I have, that's a positive thing, the ending sh. That's negative. Remember, as opposed to those endings also, they repeat, right? So saguzavawa ch, positive, saguzavawa ch, negative, right? Bihan, can I ask these two guys, Bihan and Temerkanra, Bihanra, fa, I'm going to use fa for you guys, two of you. Fa guzavawa fi'a.
Alhamdulillah,
We're going to talk about little problems, not big. Yeah, you can also use it for, like, big problems. Yeah, guzavawa. Problema, well, we can also say problema, but it's not really a fun word, I guess. Guzavawa. Diaqam. Guzavawa diaqam. Diaqam.
Guzavawa
diaqam. Guzavawa diaqam.
So it means squeeze or narrow. Zev.
Yes. Zev. That's
it means narrow. It does not mean to squeeze.
Well, I mean, yeah. When you have a problem, your heart kind of squeezes, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it narrows.
But it means like, narrow. That's right.
Yeah. It's like when you say somebody is mean, we say they're hard-hearted. So it's kind of like that. So somebody asked how on my notebook computer, I don't have a Cyrillic keyboard. So this is how you spell this in Circassian. This is on slide 48.
Yeah, Cyrillic.
Okay. So I wanted to spend a few minutes doing reading practice in Cyrillic because we have a few minutes left. Is that okay? Okay. Okay. So we're switching out of our official TPRS method. We're still using some story, right? But I wanted everybody to get a little bit of reading practice. So right now, I'm going to ask everyone to mute. Please mute your microphone. Okay, everyone, please mute your microphone. And we're just going to do a little bit of reading practice. And this is going to be something called extensive reading. I'm going to read this to you, and I'm going to explain every single word and every single syllable. That's called extensive reading. I'm sorry, intensive reading. I'm going to explain every little piece of it, but this is a way also to practice the alphabet and pronunciation, okay? So first, let's just this is reading practice. Let's take a look at this picture. What do we see? We see a woman. We see some children. This child looks like he's friends with this other child. This woman is probably their mother, maybe their grandmother. We see that there's a fireplace in front of them. There's a fire. There's some food here. And this woman, she's doing something, she's knitting, she's making something. So before we go into the story, let's look at the picture and try to guess what the story is all about. Now I'm going to read the story very, very slowly and just listen along. Okay, look at the picture and see if you can figure out what's happening in the story. Zog. Zogur huabas. Jogur guapas. Da jogum de das. Nana psissa jea. Psissir halamach. Da psissam de dihachawa dodawa. Okay, I'm going to read it one more time, a little bit more quickly. Zog. Zogur huabas. Zogur guapas. Da zogum de das. Nana psissa jea. Psissir halamach. Da psissam de dihachawa dodawa. Okay, now I'm going to do the translation for you. Zog. Zog means fireplace. It means hearth. I'm sorry, it means hearth. It's not a fireplace. In English, there's a word called hearth. It's a fireplace inside the house that you use for cooking. Okay, and this first word, the first part of this word, z, it means mouth. Z. Gu, we know it means heart. So zog is the mouth of the heart. It's where all the cooking takes place in the old Circassian houses. It's where people gather for warmth. They gather to speak to the people they love. So it makes sense that this word would mean the mouth of the heart. It's where all the people would gather to cook and to be warm and to talk to one another. Okay, zog. All right, zogur, the hearth, the fireplace. Huabas. Huaba means hot. Because I'm telling you it's hot, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, we add s at the end. Zogur huabas. Zogur guapas. Gua, remember, gua means heart. Pa means nose, but pa also means the front of something, right? Pa means nose. Pa also means the front of something. So sometimes in English, if we say somebody is very emotional, we say he wears his heart on his sleeve, or we say he's open-hearted. So here, the word guapa, it means the front of the heart. It means pleasure. Pleasure, something nice, right? The front of our heart, it's something nice. So, zogur guapas. The hearth, it's pleasant, it's nice. Of course it's nice. It's warm. We make food there. There's nice smells coming. All of our relatives are sitting around this warm fire. Da, we or us. Da, zogum, the hearth, the des. So this is not the word I would use, but it's a simple word. This came out of a textbook from Nalchik. Desin is the infinitive form. It means to be someplace. It means to be someplace that does not have walls and that does not have a roof. Okay. There's a lot of words in Circassian that mean to be someplace. Desin would mean to be in a place that does not have walls and does not have a roof. So earlier we said, like I said before, set Chicago, I am at Chicago. This is correct. It's a little bit more correct as you start to improve your Circassian for me to say, set Chicago des. I'm in the city of Chicago. Both are correct, but it's just a different way of saying it. And the city of Chicago has no walls and no ceiling. In old Circassian times, this hearth would be something outdoors because our houses were made of wooden sticks and mud. So when we would say, I'm at the fireplace, there's no walls, there's no roof. So we use this verb des. And because there is two of us, somebody here is telling us the story. Remember, the jogum, we are at the hearth, we are at the fireplace, the des. So we have to say des, right? If I said I am at it, I would say sa jogum sides. But these are two, presumably it's the two kids here telling the story. Nana, grandmother. Nana is grandmother. Nana, psissa, jea. Psissa. Psissa is a fairy tale. Psit, psit is water. Psit is water. Psa is soul. So psissa is a flowing story. It's a fairy tale. All right, psissa. And she's telling it. Jea. Now, we don't say here, so I know many of you speak Circassian, so some of you might say, why do we do not say jia? Jia means she is saying it. Jea means she's telling it. And who is she telling it to? She's telling it to these children. Psisser halamach. Psisser, the fairy tale, halamach. This is a loan word from Arabic. It means interesting. Give me 1 second, guys. It means interesting. So the fairy tale is interesting. Da, psissem, we, the fairy tale. Okay. This word, the dihachawa. Okay. This, there's a verb in Circassian, the hachin. The hachin means for you to basically put your head down. So what we're saying here, the dihachawa, it really means we're interested in it. But the parts of the word, de means we, di means we are, hachawa, our heads are down. We're interested in it. Okay, so we're saying we're interested in it. The psism, the dihachawa, with great interest. That one is the verb that means to listen, not to hear. Just like in English, you can hear something, you can listen to something, but not hear it. And you can hear something, but not listen. That one means you're listening and you understand. And because there's two little children, maybe a boy, maybe a boy and a girl, maybe two girls, we don't know. Because there's two people doing it, they say, dodawa. If I said I am doing it, I would say sa, psissa, sadihachawa, sodawa. Okay, so that's all of the pieces of this puzzle. That is intensive reading. You now understand every piece. I'm going to read it one last time, and then I'm going to open it up to questions. And this time I'm going to read it at a moderate speed with no translation. I want you to follow along and try to get all these words, the meaning of these words, and the little pieces of these words in your brains, okay? Jog. Jogur huabas. Jogur guapas. Da jogum de des. Nana psissa jea. Psisser halamats. Da psissam da dihachawa dodawa. Okay, so why doesn't everybody turn off your mute? Okay. Now, this is my shabza. This is my tradition. The formal class is now over, right? I want to be respectful of everybody's time. If you want to go, if you have something to do, you're free to leave. No one will be upset. Nobody will be offended. The official class is over. But I will stick around for another 5 or 10 minutes to answer any questions that people have about the reading, about anything that we've covered, or anything that you have a question, even if we didn't cover it in this class. Any question you have between me, Lydia, and Zalina, we can answer anything you guys might ask.
I have a question.
All right, so why don't we use the little emoticon to put your hand, like there's a little thing you can put your hand up using you have like a little yellow hand up. Okay, and we'll take turns.
Where's that at?
All right, so first we'll go with Amani.
Can you tell the same story with the Abzak accent? Because it helps me to memorize it better or to understand it better.
So I cannot, because I don't have this story in Abzak. and I am not qualified to write it in Abazakh. But the other thing that you should be aware of, Amani, I hear this a lot from Abazakh. You speak Arabic. So in Adigabza, we have two Fusha. We have two Fusha. We have Habarde, which is what we're learning now, and we have Chakha. Chakha is what they speak in Adigye. These are the two Fusha that we have. There are many people who speak Jane, who speak Baslane, who speak Shapsur, who speak Abazakh. These are spoken languages, but there's no formalized written form of them. Chakha, which is what they speak in Adigaya, will be very close for you. It would almost be like the difference between the Arabic spoken in Syria and the Arabic spoken in Iraq. It's very close, a little different, not as close as Jordan and Syria, but closer than like Saudi and Syria. So there are books that I have. I can dig through them to find Chakha, which is Adigayan, Adigayabza. Also in our working group, we are working to take all of these materials and put them into Western dialects as well. But it's not going to be Abazakh, it's going to be Chakha, which is the Fusha of the Western dialects.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I think the next person, Okay, Nilgun. Okay, you're next.
Thank you. I have two questions. Didi Hahawa, is it adverb?
The Hahawa, Dodawa. Yes, it would be an adverb.
Which verb is it derived from?
Dodawa.
Dodawa.
Yeah. So the Hahawa, the Hahawa with great interest. What are we doing with great interest? Dodawa. We are listening. So it's an adverb.
Okay, thank you.
Murat.
Thank you, and I'm sorry if you're taking your time, but if you do this, I'm sorry also. I can check the group always because of my time issue. I just want to ask, do you have like these fairy tales on you or these pictures, like maybe some songs we can practice? Can you share them in our group if it's okay for you? Or if you shared, I'm sorry for asking.
No. It's a good question. This is a big Murat. This is a big problem that we have. This is a huge problem that we have. We have lots of great literature. But this literature is locked in physical books. I have many of these books, but also sometimes when we read these stories, some story is great, some story is boring. Some story is interesting, some story is not so interesting. Some story is perfect for a beginner. Some stories are very hard for a beginner, and they're all just spread out across many books. I have many of these books. I'm sure Lydia and Zali have many of these books. Hamid Nazar, many of you know him. Many of you have studied with him. He's part of our group as well. He has many of these. One of the things that we're working on right now is there's two projects that we have that I have. Some people in the group are helping. One is to take as many of these existing stories as possible and to organize them from short to long, and from simple to hard, and from most interesting to least interesting. That's a big project. And part of the problem also is we want to be very careful about copyright. Who owns these stories? We don't want to steal somebody's stories. I don't think that's an issue really, but we want to be respectful of this issue. So that is a project that we're working on. And that's a big project because once you learn to speak some basic Circassian, the next step is to read. And without reading, it becomes very difficult to make sense of it. Now, the other project that I'm working on is in the United States, there's a concept of graded readers. And what a graded reader does is it starts with short stories and they'll say, here's a story that only uses 500 words. You only need 500 vocabulary words to read the story, and then 1,000, and then 1,500, then 2,000, then 3,000, then 5,000. I'm working on my own anthology of these stories, I have approximately 500 stories. They're almost done in English and in Russian, and I own the copyright to these stories. I own the copyright to these stories. They're organized exactly as I said before, from shortest to longest, from simplest to hardest, and they're designed to be graded readers. The Russian translations are almost done. Once they're done, I can engage more translators in Nalchik to make them Circassian. And then because I own the copyright, there's no issue, and they're designed to be exactly what I said. The problem is they will be good translations, but they won't really capture Circassian mentality. You know, it's like reading a translation, you know, like reading the Quran in Arabic versus reading it in English. It's never exactly the same. Now, all that said, in the meantime, I am going to share something very quickly. Give me 1 second here with this group. I have available to everybody 25 short stories shared. I have 25 short stories. Each story is only 150 words long, and I have them in Circassian and English and Arabic and Turkish. I have them in German and Russian as well, but let me pull this up real quick. Circassian, here we go. And you guys can share this. If one of you wants to share this in the WhatsApp group, that would be great. Share this with everybody that you want. I'm just putting this into this chat now. So if you click on this, you'll see the first story is Sleeping Beauty, right? So I have Sleeping Beauty in English, and then I have it in Russian, and then I have it in Circassian, and then I have it in Arabic, and then I have it in Turkish. So this is good reading practice for you. And what I did here, so I own the copyright to this. Nobody can, you know, I share it with everybody. No one can come after me for this. But what we did here, these are designed to be simple with simple vocabulary. We tried to make every sentence follow parallel sentence construction. So the word order, everything, it's all designed to be that way. So we try to make it as parallel to understand as possible. And this is great reading practice.
I mean, I don't have any words for saying my feelings because you know, the new generation especially need that. Like I need to read something for more practice or for more understandable words, like maybe creating new sentences, blah blah. So I need that, and I'm really grateful for you, for having you in my life. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Also, can I comment on something, Janti? I really liked how you dissected those words like guapa, siguapas. What does that mean? It opens up the Circassian mentality, I think. Yeah, like guapa. When we learned Circassian, for example, we never, you know, we were never told that, you know, this word means, or psissa, a flowing story. Well, you kind of know that psi is a water, yeah? Psa is a soul. And I think when you tell that to people, what it really means, like guapa in front of your open heart, basically, you develop a sort of a respect for language, you know, a respect. You look a little bit differently than you learn it, rather than you learn it automatically, you know, like you're growing up and, you know, it doesn't mean much. So you don't think about the meaning of these words, but then when you point out, you just develop such big respect for the language, I think. Yeah. So siguapas, when we say siguapas, it's, you know, it acquires a new meaning, I think. Yeah. And thank you for that. It's really nice.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I just dropped a link, Albert, 1 second. I dropped a link to the WhatsApp group in the chat here, and I dropped a link to those stories. The other thing, guys, just real quick, in those stories, if you click on the second tab, there are 5,000 vocabulary words, all professionally reviewed, all professionally translated, 5,000 vocabulary words in English, Circassian, Turkish, Arabic, and Russian. 5,000. And one more thing, I'm sorry, before we go to Albert, I'm going to drop, this is all public. You can share this with anybody, with everybody. This is a folder that I just dropped into the chat. And if somebody can do me a favor and drop this into the WhatsApp group as well. This is a folder with all of my open source materials. Everything that I've ever produced is in that link. I have a 150 word book on the grammar of Circassian. I have over 200 dialogues. I've got 1,500 phrases with translations and what are called gloss translations, which is what I did when I read you the story. That is word for word. It tells you this is what this means. This is what that means. So there's a lot of stuff in that link. Please share it as widely as you can. One of the things I'm doing is I'm trying to get these materials more easily available on an updated website. It's just a slow process because I'm just one guy, but you can share these as widely as you want. Albert, you had a question?
Yes. I can't get you now. Hold on. The question was, on that one slide you had close to the last slide, the dotwa. Why, I know sometimes in some other words too, you have the O there. Why isn't it, why dotwa instead of the dotwa instead of the datwa?
So the word is do datwa. Do datwa. So here, so the short answer, there is no short answer. The answer that I'll try to make as short as possible. Circassian is a very, very interesting language, and we do something very unique with our verbs. With our verbs contain 95% of all the information that the entire sentence includes, right? So for every verb, for every pronoun, not every pronoun, for the first person singular and the second person singular, and the third person singular and the third person plural, when I say I or you, or when I say we or them, or I'm sorry, us, I'm going to put a prefix in front of every verb. The only time I don't do this is when I say he, she, it, ar, or them, abuchum. But if I say sa or wa, or if I say fa or da, I'm always going to put some prefix in front of the verb. These prefixes, there's about a half dozen of them, but they're always some variation of sa, so, si for me, de, do, right? And then there's other prefixes I can add as well that I'm not going to get into right now. So if I say the verb to listen is dawan, dawan. If I say I listen, sa, so, dawa. If I say we listen, I say da, do, dawa. Okay, so we do this for every pronoun, you know, first person, second person, third person, singular, plural. We do this for every single one of these, and it's just something that's part of the language. Okay. It takes time, and there is, some people have written books that say, why do some verbs take these prefixes versus others? I actually have, I'm going to share this in just a minute. I actually have a verb encyclopedia. I'm not sure if it's in this link. It's not. I have a verb encyclopedia of 500 verbs that have all the prefixes laid out. So I'm going to drop that into the thing here as well.
Okay.
Any other questions? Let me share my screen. I need to add this to the link to the drive that I just shared with you guys. But let me share my screen here and show you. Do you guys see my screen? Do you guys see yourselves, or do you guys see the verbs?
We see the verbs.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So I want to say there are about 500, there's 487 verbs in this verb encyclopedia. And you can see as an example so I'll just give you one example. So, bahwasun, it's to kiss, bahwasun. So the way that we say this in the present tense, right? Sa ba huzo s wa ba hubo s ab ba hues. So sa ba huzos, I am kissing. Wa ba hubos, you are kissing. Ab ba hues, he is kissing. Da ba hudos, we are kissing. Fa ba huvos, you plural are kissing. Abichem ba huas, they are kissing, right? And then when we get here, what's this? It's been a while since I looked at this. So then I give you the past tense, okay? Saba huasas, huasunus, future tense. Then what do I do here? Then I just give you, I break it apart so you can see how the verb stems and the verb roots come apart and come back together. And then I just put it back together, right? So this is just a simpler version of what you saw there in the present tense. And then I do the past tense. Then I do the future tense. And then I'm not sure, I don't think I did this for all of them. I ran out of time. I did it for most of them. I show you the question form. Okay. Ba who's giving a kiss? Zimi ba nobody's kissing. So I ask you the question form and I give you the negative answer form. Then I give you a command form for you singular and you plural. And then I give a sample sentence. So this would answer a lot of questions. If you can read Cyrillic, if you can read Circassian, this will help you to get a feel of how all of these verbs are structured. These are, it was supposed to be 500. It ended up being 487, but these are the most common verbs in the Circassian language.
Another question. Abih ba huesh. Does that not mean he wants a kiss or she or?
No. So here's the thing, and this is why it's so important to learn the proper Circassian alphabet. Abih ba hues, hues. Okay. So what we're actually saying here is he is making a kiss. Ba is a kiss. Huasun means to make it for someone else. So when we make a kiss, we don't kiss ourselves. We kiss our little babies. We kiss our mothers, So abih ba hues. It's that SH sound with a bash, with a stick. If I said he wants a kiss, it's a different verb. The verb is hueyin. And I'd say abih, I'd say ar ba hues. Not hues, hues, which is a harder s. Abih ba hues, he wants a kiss.
Okay. Grazie.
Grazie. Any other questions? Okay. If you guys have 2 more minutes, I'd like to bounce an idea off of you guys if you're still here. All right. And this is in the recording. So people, when this goes on YouTube, drop a comment. If you've made it this far into the video, congratulations. So I am thinking really hard about how we can get this community bigger, right? The most important thing, I've said this a few times, the most important thing is for us to have a community. If you have people that you like to talk to, you will do whatever it takes to talk to them. That's why we're all learning Circassian. We have people we love or we want to know to be able to speak this language to. It's great to have teachers, but I'm not a native speaker and we don't have this system down right. And we don't have a lot of teachers. So even if we had over 200 people, over 150 people registered for the classes, and on average, 25 people attend each class. And we have 3 classes a week. Right now, God bless my wife. She's a saint, but I can't keep teaching 3 classes a week like this and go through teacher training, especially since I'm not a teacher, and have the weekly meetings I have with Lydia and Zalina and other people. It's just too much time. So I'm trying to think of ways that we can supplement these conversations with something that is more scalable and something that still builds this community. I have a very good friend who has a program that he calls the 30-Day Speaking Challenge. And what he does is he gets people from all around the world, and he asks them a question every day, and every day they record themselves speaking an answer. And then somebody, like if I wanted to learn Russian, so I did his challenge. I'm learning Russian right now. So I went into his group. Somebody wanted to learn English. I wanted to learn Russian. We got paired up with each other. He asks a question. I answered it in Russian verbally. That guy answered it in English verbally. I then listened to his English and I wrote in words what he said. And then I showed him the mistakes he made. And then I wrote to him in English the proper, what he would say. And then I recorded my voice in proper English. And he did the same for me in Russian. We never met. We never spoke in real time because it's all different time zones. But this was a really interesting way for me to improve my Russian. I have this idea for, I think 30 days is very hard. So I have this idea for a Speak for a Week challenge. And what I think, there's some computer programming that's required. But what would happen is each person would have an account. They'd log into their account and they would integrate that account with WhatsApp or with Telegram or with Signal. And then they could click the button on their phone with Telegram, WhatsApp, or Signal. They could record 30 seconds or a minute. I would ask something like, what's your favorite color? Something very easy. And I have all these questions, by the way. These questions are designed, if you learn how to answer them, it's easier to have conversations with people. Where are you from? What's your favorite color? Do you have children? What do you study? What's your favorite food? Just basic questions. So then everyone who's joining this community, they would answer in whatever Circassian they know how to say, and it would be audio. Someone somewhere, I don't know who, I don't know how, I don't know where, and I think we'd have to pay them. So this would actually maybe be a way to create jobs in our homeland. We could hire local people in Nalchik who would listen to these audio files, write what you said in, if there's a mistake, they'll write it with the mistake. And then they'll say, here's this mistake, here's this, and then they'll write it in correct Circassian. And then they will use WhatsApp or Telegram or Signal to upload their voice. And even though people might be with different schedules or different time zones or different geographies, this would be a way for us to have a community and to speak to people, but to not necessarily do it in real time. And the idea is that, 1 month challenge is very difficult to commit to. It's very difficult to keep up with. But Speak for a Week, I've done this in Russian, I've done this in Circassian, I've done some of the things. It should not take more than 1 minute of your time to do this, to answer this question. But I wanted to see, it's just an idea that came to my head yesterday. I wanted to see if people think this is an interesting idea or a bad idea or a good idea. This is the first time I'm sharing it with anybody, and I'm really curious what you guys think.
I think it's a good idea going forward. I don't know if maybe we should continue our group with these classes, and then if we acquire enough vocabulary to do that at some point, I don't know, but it's a good idea. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to continue the class. I don't know in the future. These classes go until the middle of December, till the end of December. I'm gonna finish them. There's no doubt about that. But some people don't have time for the class. I think everyone in this class speaks some Circassian, right? So this could be a supplement. And there's a lot of people where maybe this is too basic for them. So this is not to compete with the class. It's not to replace the class. In my vision of the future, there should be 10, 20 different ways that people can play with the language. And this is just one of them.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. The only thing is the alphabet also. If native speakers from Nalchik would do that, they probably would use the Cyrillic alphabet,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It has to be. It has to be.
I'm sorry for asking twice, but I didn't understand the idea. What we gonna do in the 1 week? Can you explain again?
Yeah. So every day for 1 week, Monday through Friday, only 5 days, I will ask you a question. And every day I might ask you, what's your favorite food? What's the best gift you ever received, right? What's your favorite color? How many times have you seen the sunrise, right? Something just very basic. And every day you would say, okay, this is today's question. What's your favorite color? And then using only Circassian, you would use WhatsApp or Signal or Telegram, and you would record your voice and say, right? This is my favorite color. And you'd say, purple, moros, brown. And if you don't know the word, you would just say, I don't know. And then somebody who is a native speaker of Circassian would listen to what you say, type in the Cyrillic alphabet and the Circassian alphabet, what you said, even if it has mistakes. And then below that, they would type the correct way to say it. And then they would record their voice as a native speaker saying it the correct way. And so this gives you a chance to practice speaking using the vocabulary that you have. You can see what mistakes you made because they're going to type for you what you said. If there's mistakes, you can see what they typed correctly, and it'll help you to read as well, because you can read what they wrote and you can hear their voice as well. And I want to run these on a weekly basis so that there's always a chance to jump in. It's just 1 week. And some people might do it every week. And some people might say, I did it for 3 weeks and then I got busy and then I come back. Because what I see, a lot of people want to do something, but they miss one class, they miss 2 classes, and they get nervous, they get scared, they don't come anymore. Zali, yeah, I know you have a question or a comment.
No, maybe not quite a question, but what you just described for me, for example, with a bit of dyslexia, sounds really complicated in terms of like writing this something, asking. What if it's just to do it easy? Every day, certain question answers, just record them. And if, you know, for example, what's your favorite color? Rouge. If they say, and a native speaker or someone who's knowledgeable will be just replying, saying, and they can practice.
So
writing, yes, as well. No writing plus recording. I actually ready to start this in our WhatsApp group. If you
WhatsApp group, yeah, maybe we should try it in our WhatsApp
just to
group
practice,
and see how it goes.
Because from description, I just like trying to follow what you said, and then it's all going like.
I got it.
Yeah, I try to say that too. Like,
it's just for non-native speaker or for those who are learning at different levels. That can be a bit confusing, you know.
Yeah.
Until it's a certain system.
Let's try in our WhatsApp group, propose a question, and everyone will answer. And we, Zali and I.
Yeah, or to stick to one topic, you know,
one topic
during the day. Colors.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, I like that. I like that. Let's try it. Thank you. You know, I'm jealous of many. You know what's funny? Me and Zalina and Lydia, we're the only people in this group who don't live around any Circassian people. I'm jealous of all you guys, you know, all you guys in K City. I want to go there someday. It's good to hear, you know, sometimes I just think about these things and I get lost in my own ideas. So that's a great idea, Zalina. We should do that. We should do that.
And also, I probably can take over Saturday classes. But my concern is that I'm technically not that knowledgeable in terms of like speaking and typing straight away, and which it might take me a bit of time to, or I just can simplify, and I don't promise to stick exactly to this method.
Yep.
I mean, I will be trying to, because it's a new method for me as well. I'm a teacher, but teacher of English and Russian, and the method is quite new for me. I know about it, and I'm reading in Russian about that as well. It's quite becoming popular, this method, but it's not for everyone, I want to say.
Yeah, it's correct. Well, no method is for everyone.
And
No
also you, Jonty, you have some ability to languages. You are actually an outstanding person who I know,
agree.
and my husband
Totally.
always like admires you, but not everyone has these abilities. You are you're really into languages, you know what I mean, but not everyone are the same, and this method may be not for everyone. But we are
Polyglot. How do you say it
Yes.
in Circassian? Polyglot, many languages. Bza, bza,
Bza'aji. Hamza, thank you.
You can say.
Thank you, Zali. Hamza, you have a question?
If you are fine that I can continue and take over, and if people are happy, I mean, I don't know. I don't promise 100% that everything will be
I'm happy to have you. Let's take the conversation offline because I want to make sure that we transition, and but I'm very open to that. We need more teachers. We cannot have one guy, one book, right? All the ideas. When I go to the bookstore and I want to learn Spanish or Turkish or Russian or Arabic, there's 50 books, 12 different methods. There's video, there's audio. That's what we need. That's what we need. The people who are posting Maya de Gebza on my Facebook group, I love that they're doing that. It's not my work, but that's great. We should have 20 different people trying to do the same thing, not to reinvent the wheel, but we should have many different people trying many different things, Who wants to eat one piece of bread every day for life? No one. Hamza, what was your comment or question? I think
we don't hear you for some reason.
You have to plug in your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah.
I removed the mic, which is funny. Okay, so Janti, you mentioned some tech over there, like Line, WhatsApp, integration with a website or a platform. But back to the insight you mentioned, which is if you want to expand, you cannot be investing so much time or face-to-face or virtual teachers, right? So I've used a lot of language learning applications like Duolingo and Memrise, and some of the approaches is to teach people how to learn, but not to actually teach them the exact outcome. So if you want to expand and be everywhere, but not actually physically giving the lessons, the platforms or such technology, I believe might be a solution.
Well, that's why, I agree with you. And that's why I just dropped this in the chat. That's why I built Octolingo. So Octolingo, there's 20 different languages. Circassian is not economically viable on its own. It just isn't, right? So I built Octolingo. There's 19 other languages, and I have a team of 8 people that run this business for me. We've got 33,000 subscribers to date on this platform. Only 200 or 300 of them use Circassian. Most of them are Spanish, Italian, French, German. But yeah, I agree with you. This is available. Circassian is free, by the way. So if you see anything that says subscribe or buy, you can ignore it. Circassian is always free to everybody who signs up. But we need more. We need more. We need more. We cannot, like I said, you cannot just have the same piece of bread every day for life.
So this is amazing.
So this app, it will teach you 1,500 phrases. It'll teach you 1,200 words, 1,200 words. And every phrase is spoken by a native speaker from Nalchik. She's actually a a famous theater actress. And every phrase, I give you the adigabza, I give you the transliteration, and then I give you written in words exactly what I do when I read for you in this class. So for example, if I say dawushit, I spell in adigabza dawushit, then I put below that dawawushit in English letters, and then below that it says dawa, how, wushit, you stand, right? So I give you all the breakdown so you can understand the language.
Yeah, we need to take advantage of this new technologies, and young people, they can do stuff with this new technology much better. So it's our hope also that new generations will pick up this trend, because we are such a spread community, and this technology helps us to, get together and to reach our goals. And yeah, we definitely need to take advantage like we are doing right now, actually.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
We sind schon verschiedene Passer.
Ja, wir sind schon verschiedene. Sie gehören aus diese Männer, das diese Männer, das. Ja,
زين شو
Gebiet.
عمود أبصر.